Hello and welcome to Jerry's Live. My name is Michaela Westra and I'm going to be your host today. And as you can see, we have our wonderful friend Ophelia here today.
Hello, hello.
And she is here to go to art school so you guys don't have to. And today we're going to be talking about drawing. So before we jump in, make sure you guys know our class code for today, which is going to be JL355. You can pop that in JerrysArtarama.com in the search bar, and it will show you everything that we are using tonight in case you want to start drawing yourself. So I talked with Ophelia a little bit before we jumped in, and I wanted to see what you already knew and how to move forward. So when we were talking, you were saying you know how to draw like the outlines of things. But you were struggling with making it look 3D.
Right.
So the main lesson for today is going to be all about value and creating a 3D form. So we're going to start
That's what
off...
we're shooting for.
Yes. We're going to start off with what most people start off with, which is creating a sphere. So creating something that has dimension and light, and how that is connected to like a table, like how it sits on a surface. So we're going to start with that, but I created a little set of drawing supplies, and I'm actually going to let you open this up and I'll talk about it as we go. So we have, to start off, the Jerry's like pencil case. This is, I believe, 12 by 16, and it holds 2 sketchbooks, a whole set of like drawing materials, so you can carry everything that you need as you go.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. There's something else in there. Sorry. Okay, there we are.
Perfect. Okay. So inside we have 2 drawing books. So we have the orange one, which is going to be for drawing. This is what I would use once I get my tools down and I want to try and create something that's a little bit more finished.
Okay.
I would use this one to make some of my nicer sketches.
Not practice, practice.
Yes.
Okay.
So this one, the Colossal Sketch Pad, this is going to be your practice book. So everything that you're like using to test out your techniques and your tools, this is going to be great because the paper is like very like classic paper, and it has 100 sheets of paper in here. So you can do 100 different practices in one sketchbook and then jump on over to the drawing paper.
I've never seen this one.
This is going to be something you can use after we learn our tools. But
I'll put it away.
we're going to start with the Colossal Sketch Pad.
Okay. Do you need this one or no?
Not right now.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'll start with this one.
So we're going to start by seeing what each one of these tools in this set of drawing materials looks like. So this is a set of 9. It's all charcoal of different kinds, plus a blending stump. And
I just want a touchy. I'm sorry.
I know. Here,
My hands here.
I got you. There we go.
Okay.
So in this, we have 2 large willow charcoal, which are those big boys. That's going to be what I use to tone a piece of paper, get a large area of this material down. These are also going to be either willow or vine charcoal, very similar to these, just in a smaller format. And then we have compressed charcoal in these little pencil forms. And they have hard, medium, and soft. Now the soft is going to be the softest material, so it's going to let go of the most powder and pigment. That's going to be your darkest.
Okay.
And then the harder it gets, the harder that material is and less that powder is going to come off. So that's going to be your lightest of your compressed charcoal. And then of course there's a sharpener and this little blending stump. And then I also had Kneadable Eraser, which we were both playing with before we went live. These are basically also fidget toys. They have multiple purposes.
May I ask a question
Yes.
before we start? What makes us start with charcoal and not graphite?
Yes. Okay, so the reason we're starting with charcoal and not graphite is because charcoal can be worked, it can be erased, it can be added. You can practice your arm movement and how to use techniques with this a lot better. And you're not going to focus on details with this because this...
So we're not detailing.
Yes.
Okay.
This is going to have a lot more surface area than like a pencil would.
Okay.
So focusing on pencils first, you would... I would get bogged down in details. I would want to focus on those tiny things, where this is going to force you to work at just the main overall shape and value.
I trust. I think drawing and I think graphite, and I think they should go together. And then I'm like, wait, why are we doing charcoal? I
always feel like knowing charcoal before jumping into graphite is going to help you do better with graphite.
Okay. All right.
But I'm going to pull out my own set of things. I also have a sketchbook and drawing materials here.
The same thing.
Yeah. I'm going to put this guy to the side.
Okay, yep, that's for...
And with this, I already have a paper removed from this one. So why don't you go ahead and remove that paper. Now, the paper is always nice so that you don't get your hands super dirty. But it's also nice to have this wide area to run that over and get more of a toning space. Now I am going to put on gloves because charcoal is also a little messy. So if you want gloves too, Ophelia.
Okay.
Now we have a quick question while you guys are grabbing that. In case you do make something really, really lovely in the practice pad, is it acid-free and therefore archival and will last a long time?
Yes, this is acid-free paper. Yep.
That's a good one. Oh, wait. Is this an option or no? Does it matter?
I like wearing them because I know it's going to be messy and I would rather just take off gloves. But you don't have to.
Can I try it without and just see what happens?
Yeah, of course.
Freaking it.
So, like I said, we're going to start with just a basic sphere. And I have just this little printout of an example that we're going to be looking at. And I'll walk you through, like, the different parts of a shadow and how to create this on your own.
I changed my mind. Yours look cool, so I want to...
Alright. So, I'm going to start this drawing the same way you start your abstract paintings. So I want to take the preciousness out of this paper. I'm just going to scribble and cover this with charcoal.
Why are you doing yours so light?
I'm not pressing down hard enough. There we go. So I'm just covering this whole thing.
Oh, now you're...
And this makes it so that you start with a mid-tone. That way you can build up your darks and your lights. And I'm just blending this in.
Okay, wait. You keep going because mine is not smooth. And I thought you started lighter.
That's okay. I got the wrong angle on there, but I got it now. I was rubbing the paper on there. Okay. So once you have that, I like to rub all of that extra powder into the paper. And then I'm going to go in with my smaller stick. And these are not precious. If you snap these like this one is already broken, that is okay. Most people break it on purpose so they have a good size in their hand while they're working. So I'm going to start with a circle because a sphere is a circle. And I'm not going to put it right in the center because I want to make sure I have room for my shadow. So I'm going to kind of go a little off to the side. And I'm just going to keep circling until I feel like it's a good enough circle. And then I'm just going to rub it away.
Oh.
That's okay.
So
go ahead and do it again. Because the big thing about creating something that's realistic is you're not making lines. You're making blocks of color and value next to each other. That's going to create line that way. So I have my sphere. Go ahead and blur out your line a little bit so you can still kind of see it, but it's not perfect. Okay, So now we're going to go in and we're going to divide this between the highlighted area of the sphere and the shadowed area of the sphere. And to do that, I want to make sure that the line I create is curved. So it's going to follow the curve of that side of my sphere. And now I'm going to go ahead and create my little moon, finish that side of the sphere and fill it in. And then I can blend that away. Now this part is going to be all about your sketch and finding your form.
Keep going, I'm here.
So you don't have to worry about it being super perfect or super dark. I always like to keep blending it away and build things up as I go, because this can only go so dark. But once you have that, you have your light area of your sphere and your dark area of your sphere, but there's going to be a range in between that because it is going to end up looking kind of like a gradient. So in the light area, you're going to have your really high highlight, and then you're going to have something in between. On here, the dark side,
the dark
side is going to be shadowed, but you're not going to bring that shadow all the way to the bottom.
Not bring it all the way to the bottom.
And that is because the light that is hitting the sphere is also hitting the table it's sitting on. So the light that's hitting this table is going to be reflected into that shadow area. So this little part here is going to be kind of like a highlight inside the shadow. So we're just going to leave that as it is, and we're now going to add the shadow. So you want to make sure that your shadow isn't going to pass the edge of your sphere. So you can kind of mark it with a dot if you want to.
Not past the edge of my sphere. Oh,
and it's going to come out pretty far. And again, we want to mimic the shape of our circle. So it's going to be a round shadow. And then it's going to kind of turn into an ellipse. And then you can fill that in. So make sure you don't fill in that highlighted area of your sphere. You kind of go around it. This is going to be your darkest dark. And then shadows get lighter the further away they get from your object. So I'm going to blend this in like I did everything else. And blend out that edge.
Oh my gosh,
so
why is mine blending completely out?
That's okay. We're going to go back in with something darker. This is just our sketch. So once we have that, we now know.
Yes. How do you know when you're overworking this? Or are we not? I'm not.
No, you're not.
Looks like a balloon. What am I doing?
And this is all about just like practicing your techniques and how to create things. If you make a mistake, you can rub it off and try again. Put it back in. Yep. And then once we have our sketch done with that willow charcoal or vine charcoal, we're going to go in and add our dark darks and our bright highlights. And for that, our bright highlights are going to be brought in with our kneaded eraser.
I did need my eraser.
Yep. Okay. And I always like to make sure that it's ready to go.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You can keep working on that real quick.
I just don't understand why yours is darker.
That's okay. It doesn't have to be the same.
In my
as long
defense,
as
I've never worked with this.
Yeah, everyone's got to start somewhere. And once you have something on there, I'll let you keep working.
No, you go
So
ahead.
I'm gonna keep messing around with mine, adding and erasing.
I think okay. All right. So now I've lost my edges. Is that okay?
That's okay. We can bring them back in.
Okay.
So we're going to start using our kneaded eraser. I always like to make sure it's kneaded and ready. And the best part about kneaded erasers is you can form it into the shape that you want. So let's say we have a nice bright highlight on this corner. I can kind of shape it and then just press it on there. kind of use the curve of your eraser, see if you can match it.
Curve. Okay.
And then press it along the edge. Yeah. Or you can pull it out too.
Just keep going. Keep going. Can I see your eraser really fast? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's not. I mean,
you can shape it however works best. If you make a mistake, you can just blend it back in and try again.
I love this. Oh, I love this so much.
It's so easy to work with it because
sure
you can
is.
push and pull for sure.
Pushing and pulling.
I'm also going to bring my shadow back out because I kind of blended my shadow away.
Me too.
So I'm just going to use my eraser and erase around it so I can see it again.
Okay. I'm going to erase around it.
Mm-hmm. And this is just so that we can get an understanding of how light hits an object. So now we know, like, light hits one side and it slowly gets less and less hit by that light and turns into shadow. Which I also have while you're working. This little guy. And this kind of shows, I think originally I had said that the light is kind of like a cone. So it turns into a cone from the source, and you can see, I didn't do it quite perfect, but this curve creates the bottom of that cone shape.
Curve. I don't think I even have a proper
That's
circle.
okay. Try bringing your circle back out. Okay. And then for those of you that were curious about those compressed charcoal, which we'll get into a little bit later, this is going to be what the soft looks like, that really dark black.
This guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This one's going to be the medium, and this is the hard. So you can see that the value changes with the hardness of that compressed charcoal. So go ahead and go at it with the cone in mind. So let's say your light is right here, and it's creating a cone.
I was.
How does that bottom of the cone look, that curve? There we go. And now this is really dark and kind of fuzzy, but that's okay because I still have my highlights, my shadow, my in-between. I have my reflected light and my surface shadow. And I have no lines.
Oh, that is true. All right.
So I'm glad you have that line on the top up here, because in order to get rid of that line, you can make the background match the color of that line, and that line will disappear.
Oh, because we do need a table in a minute, right? Or a wall?
You can. So
I think I'm erasing too much or too hard.
So try erasing in your bottom corner. Try putting down different shapes, different pressures. See if you can start controlling how you erase. Like, see how light you can erase things and how wide. Try practicing that in the corner and see what you get. And then once we understand how to create those shadows and lights without using line, we're going to transfer this into drawing a pear.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and try this again from the beginning. So go ahead and flip to the next page of your sketchbook, because this is not precious. This is just a thing to help us learn how to use techniques.
And it was a lemon.
All right. So, do you remember how we started?
Yes, we're going to tone our... Sorry,
yes.
teacher. We're toning our background.
Yes,
to make
toning
it
the background.
Do you do that always, or are we just doing it to not make it precious?
You don't have to. I like to get the nerves out and get something on the paper. And I always like having a middle ground and then adding my lights and my shadows.
Okay, see, I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Because why does yours already look nice and even? Do you see what I mean? And mine does not.
I'm just rubbing on the paper
I'm a
until
professional
it
at this.
gets the same value-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect.
You know what?
either.
I wonder if...
Oh, is it the glove?
Let me try that one. Let me try that one. Because see how yours looks so nice and smooth and mine already looks streaky?
That's okay. It can look streaky.
Okay.
Okay. So once you have that on there, go ahead and blend that in.
Well, yeah, because I'll make a mess. It is the glove, and it's very nice and smooth.
It is the glove. So if you want a nice, smooth transition when you're toning, glove is the secret. All right. So let's go ahead and do our sphere again. What do we start with?
This guy. This guy.
Yep. We're going
over
to
here.
go off to the side. Yep. Draw a circle. Perfect.
Okay.
Now let's create our little sun. So this is going to be where our light is coming from. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead and turn this into a cone. It's going to touch the sides of my sphere. And I'm going to basically connect these two lines with a curve to create the rest of that cone. Yep. So now this part is going to be our highlighted area, and the rest of this is going to be in shadow. Let's go ahead and fill that in. You can blend it.
Wait, which one are you using? This.
The same thing. I just broke it smaller. And now remember, it starts here at our mid-tone, which I'm just going to blend that line away. I'm just going to, yeah. It's going to start getting darker, but it's not going to get dark all the way at the end. So I'm going to make sure I mark that off. I don't want to bring my darkness all the way to the end here. I want to make sure I have a space for that reflected highlight. And now I'm going to fill in this darker area. Kind of turning it into like bands of color. Nice. Okay, so now we have our shadow, which again, we want to make sure doesn't go past the edge of my sphere. And it's going to be kind of like an oval-y shape. So I'm gonna go through and create my nice oval.
There.
And then you can fill it in. Once you got the shape you like, you can always wipe it out and try again if it doesn't come out right the first time. I hear the geese migrating outside.
Yeah, I do. My question is,
yes.
Are we doing this? I'm looking at this photo, right? Because I'm... I don't even know how to form my question because I'm into this one, but am I doing it to see what I see and not what I think I see? Or is that not a part of this yet?
Typically, I always say that you are drawing what you are looking at, not what you think you are looking at. For this right now, we're kind of taking the rules that we learned from something that we have seen and applying that to something that we haven't seen. So typically I would say don't do that. But for this practice, I do think it's good to remember the tools in order to create something from your mind.
Okay.
So now that we have that, go ahead and erase your line from the bottom of your cone.
Well, I gotta take some of this out. Sorry.
Perfect.
And you said erase?
This line here, go ahead and blend that in.
Oh.
No lines.
No lines. Yep.
Now we're going to go in with our white. I needed an eraser. And we're going to pull out that highlight. And we can reshape our shadow if we need to. But again, I'm going to make sure that I like it flat, like this, and a little bit curved. So then I can put this right up to the edge of where that circle is, and just press that down, and go along the edge, just tapping that color out. Or you can wipe it out and get really light first, and then you can blend that extra powder to create a little bit more of that gradient.
Oopsies. But I am coming out.
And then you can do the same thing, creating light on the table, going around your shadow. But now that we know how shadow and light works, we can go ahead and try and apply it to something we're looking at. Which, are you ready for a pear?
Sure, because I got this great.
The best part about working with charcoal when you're learning to draw is you can draw something, erase it, and keep working with it. So with a pear is going to be basically a circle,
okay,
with another circle on top.
Okay.
So now that you know how to draw a sphere, you can basically draw a little snowman, create the shading, and then use what you're looking at to figure out what happens in between.
Spoiler alert. Okay. What happens if you are, because I keep looking at yours, and I'm being judgy McJudge because I honestly never thought that I was a perfectionist. I said it, but I am, because this gets like superbly ugly before it turns into... I'm the same way.
Okay. I was the same way. I was scared to let people see my sketchbook because I didn't want them seeing my practices. Because there is the phase in between starting drawing and getting somewhere that like you yourself find impressive. But you have to go through those phases to get there, for sure. And the more you learn how to use your tools and techniques, the easier they are to use, and the more you can introduce into your repertoire and make cool things. But you got to start somewhere small.
I trust, but I still feel as though I want to give up when it gets to that phase where it's like, wait a minute, I thought I had it, and then it didn't. I did too much and ruined it, and then I just want to like throw my whole book
that's
away.
What's good about these is you have 100 sheets.
Paper. So you're
if
right.
you don't like it, just do another one, try again. You don't have to do these drawings to create a good finished piece of art. You can do them just to practice.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes.
I see what you mean. We're just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yes.
Okay.
It's all about the process, not the finished product when it comes to practicing.
This is, I've never done this before, where we
tone it first. Yeah. I think it's so nice to not start with just white paper. But if we go to the dynamic, I'll show you guys what we are looking at for drawing today.
I am dynamic, but okay. We can do that.
So I'll move this guy out of the way. So this is our pear. And I'm actually going to light it up. I have the Color View Luxe light on the side here, which is super fantastic because then I can control the type of shadow that I'm getting. So now I have a really bright highlight and a really dark shadow instead of it being mostly in the mid-tone area. So just like we did with our sphere, we're going to take our little vine or willow charcoal here. I'm just going to draw this bottom part of the pear, just this bottom round part, which is basically a circle. I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle, just like we did before. Draw it, erase it, fix it, however you need to. And then the top is also going to be kind of like a sphere, but a little bit different shaped. So I'm going to do another one on top. It is a lot smaller.
It is. Tricked you.
So basically drawing a little snowman. And now that we have like a snowman or a figure eight, I'm going to smooth out those edges because it doesn't dip in very far. It kind of blends into the bigger bottom circle. So once I have that, I can blend those together.
Okay.
Nice. I don't want lines, so once I have the shape I like, I'm just going to kind of blur it away. So I can
On
still
any
see.
part. Okay.
Yep. So I can still see the sketch that I've done, but I don't have any line work in this.
Why do you not want lines? Just because it's the outline that makes it not. Remember, we started this with me trying to get into
Realism?
shadow. Yeah, and so the lines are like.
Yeah, that's
outlines.
more illustrative.
Okay.
So they're not bad, but when you're working with learning how to draw and creating value and form, it's better to work with shapes next to each other to create a line than drawing a physical line. You know what I mean?
You were smart. Okay.
So like instead of having something that's split in half like this, you can create a circle, create half dark and half light, and you already have that line there visually.
I gotcha.
So now that I have that there, just like the sphere, we're going to separate the highlighted side from the shadowed side. So now it's not going to be a curve, perfect curve like the sphere was, because this is not a perfect sphere. It is going to kind of follow the two spheres though.
I see it.
So it's going to kind of curve on top.
Oh wait, you're drawing it in.
And curve on bottom. And then it's going to kind of connect in the middle there. So go ahead and draw that in. You can always blur it away. But now we can create this whole half into a shadow. Nice. Now, right now, he is floating in the black abyss. We want to make sure he is sitting on something. I don't know why this pear is masculine, but we need to draw a shadow in order to place it firmly on the table.
Okay.
So, right now, it's kind of a weird shape because it's on a cloth, but I'm just going to create a little bit of a shadow underneath so it looks like it's sitting on something.
Okay.
I'm going to blur those edges because we don't want hard edges on our shadow because it's a lot softer than our pear is. Now, from our angle, we don't really see the edge of the table in the picture, so I'm going to kind of lean back and find a good area to put my table. So I'm going to put it right here. That's also going to help ground our pear.
Okay.
And I kind of want to draw in the stem just so that I remember I'm drawing a pear. Okay.
Okay.
So now that I have the basic shape, I'm going to start adjusting the shape. Your shape is actually closer to what we're looking at than mine is. I'm being honest. Mine looks kind of gaudy. So the top circle is too big for my bottom circle. So I either have to make the top circle smaller or my bottom circle larger.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of adjust my pear shape. A little bit more rounded up here. Now I can erase those lines. And I want my table to be lighter and my background to be darker. So that's when I'm also going to start going in and shading my background a little bit.
Can I use this?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because my gloves get stuck on the lid.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe I'm overdoing it.
Nah, never.
I am struggling, honestly, though, with the light and the dark. Or
it is definitely
making it lighter and
hard to kind of control right off the bat. But the more you do it, the more you learn how to control things.
My gosh, I feel like we were with Emmy saying control water. And
yes,
now I'm trying to control...
That's all art is you're controlling different materials.
I'm feeling accomplished. Not really. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I just got in my head for a second. Missed out.
So now when we're looking at our pear, you see there's kind of a reflected light or a different light source cutting through the middle of that shadow. So without erasing, because I don't want it to be lighter than over here, I'm going to either pull it out with my finger, or we have that blending stump with nothing on it right now. So you can see if that pulls any pigment off.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, wait, how did you do yours with nothing?
I just used my finger. I just rubbed the pigment out of that area. And it's also kind of light on the top here, so I'm going to pull some more pigment from the top to get that.
Excuse me.
When you're removing pigment from a charcoal drawing, I told her, do not blow the charcoal off, so she is gracefully shaking it off on the side.
No, okay, so for instance, look at how neat you are, and look at mine.
That's okay.
So I know I'm not controlling my pigment very well.
Well, I will say every artist has a different style. Every artist automatically has a style. You never have to try and aim for a style. The way you do things, the way you draw things, the way you use your material is naturally going to be different from other people.
Messy. I'll take that one. Thanks. Okay.
So now I'm going to go in with my eraser. Let's go ahead and practice how we make our eraser marks, because I want to start light and then build up to pulling those really light highlights. So I'm just practicing until I get the right shape and pressure, and then once I get something that's really light that I'm aiming for, and also the more pigment you have on your eraser, the less it's going to pull up. So if you're trying to get something kind of lighter, you can add some pigment to your eraser, and it's not going to pick up as much in that area.
Okay.
So I'm going to look at my pear. I know that entire left edge is going to be pretty white.
Okay.
And I have a little bit of a line here, so I'm going to try and remove that line and just make it white next to this gray background.
Make it white next to the gray.
So I'm just following the shape and pulling all that off. And once I have that, I can go ahead and blend with my finger to get a nice gradient. And then the bottom of my pear has more light than the top of my pear. So it's kind of like curving in and then curving in like this. But I just keep looking at what I'm drawing and copying as much as I can onto my paper. And then my stem is basically all white from what we can get with this material. So I'm actually going to pinch my eraser into a point, test it off to the side that you're getting the thickness that you want, and then go ahead and try pulling that stem. Nice.
I appreciate you.
And the fabric that my pear is sitting on, fabric is a little tricky, so I'm not going to make you, nope, I'm not going to make you do fabric today.
Okay.
I'm just going to get the idea of how light the table in that area is in comparison to my pear. So this part right here is pretty dark, but everything around it gets a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to be kind of messy with how I erase it. Just so it gets a little bit lighter in this area. I can blend it to make a nice gradient.
I am thinking, or I'm treating this like it's an abstract painting, and I just start going.
That's honestly the best way to approach like intro to drawing, is because if you go in thinking I'm drawing a pear and you know what a pear looks like in your head and you're trying to draw that, it's going to be different than looking at it and be like, ooh, I see a shape that looks like a mushroom or a banana. You can draw the shape of a banana or the shape of a mushroom and use that to your ability to create something different. Now, I'm looking at my pear and it's a little too curved in, so I'm going to keep adjusting as I go.
Curved in, what do you mean?
Like it's got too curved in, so I'm just creating more of a straight line. And our reflected highlights are going to be, this is not a reflected highlight, but it is highlighted. This is highlighted, and our reflected highlight is going to be down here on the bottom. So I'm just going to make sure that it's a little bit lighter down here. However, you need to pull that pigment up. But I'm just continuing to do this. And typically, I wouldn't go this far using the willow or vine charcoal. I would jump in and use my compressed charcoal.
Oh, that's...
So why don't we go ahead and jump in and use those. Okay. Let's start with our soft, which is going to be the darkest black. Go ahead and look at your pear. Where is the darkest black that you see?
Down here. Kind of...
Where does it get darker than that?
Over there and up here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the shadow...
Oh, yeah, sorry. The shadow at the table.
So go ahead and start with the shadow, because that is going to be pretty black. And remember, it's not a perfect curve down there. I'm seeing a little bit of a
bumpity.
A bump.
Am I pressing this as hard or not really?
You don't have to press too hard. I'm just laying it down, and then I can blend it in with the rest of my pigment if I want to. Or I can just leave it as is.
Not to sound ridiculous. Is there a right way to hold this?
No, however you would hold a pencil. You can, like, some people hold it like this. You can hold it like this if you want. Whatever is easier for you.
I just didn't know if I'm trying to get the side or am I trying to get a nice crisp line?
I like holding it at, like, at least a 45-degree angle. If you feel more comfortable going straight up like this and doing small circles, or if you like using the entire side of the pencil, whatever you feel works the best for that part and for you, you get to play around and figure out what works best for you.
What did we say this was again?
Compressed charcoal.
This is not coming off like the other one did.
Right. So the willow or vine charcoal, the reason we use that to tone and sketch is because it's easily erasable and easily worked with. This is going to be not permanent, but it's going to stick to the paper a lot more than the other ones. And this is the soft, so this is going to be the darkest and hardest to erase, where hard is going to be a little bit easier to pull up. It really depends. But I'm also going to be, actually I'm going to use the medium, because I want to use a couple different ones. There's a shadow on the right side of my stem, because right now it's just one color. I want to give it another color, and since this is a nice point, I can go in and add a little bit of a detail. So I can go in and just trace the right side of my stem. So I have a little bit of a shadow on that. And in order to connect it, there's a little bit of a, like a little curve shape where it connects to the pear.
I saw that.
And you can even go back in and reinforce your shadows if you want using these.
I just got used to the other. This one.
I know, it's very interesting switching between them.
Yeah. But okay.
It is good to know how to use the different things, though.
I feel like you're going to tell me that same word again. And I just remember it was personal preference, and now this is going to be practice, I bet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how are you feeling about your pear?
Perfect.
It actually looks really good.
You're so
Can I get a high five?
Yeah. Clean hands.
Eh.
I just want to... Too far. I got a little confident. Okay. I got a little confident. I need to work on this because it's going like a candle flame.
Okay.
And
so thankfully the background is dark, so you can use that to kind of pull that away. Yep. You can pull it back out with your eraser. It's not gone forever.
Okay. I'm thinking of what to even ask because that's...
Do we have any questions out in the comments?
That's right. I forgot we have other people there.
Comments? Okay.
Okay, because ooh. Are there other beginners out there? Like perfect beginners with...
Who has not drawn yet? Charcoal.
With charcoal. Absolute beginners with charcoal. Somebody raise your hand and just be with me, because I think I hear drawing and I think graphite, and I've never done this before. And I'm also gonna make myself stop comparing mine to yours, because that's not fair. I'm just stalling.
We do have people following along on the class today.
Are you for real? Thank you guys very much, because I'm sweating.
Please.
So many people on Facebook are just in awe. They say you're killing it.
There's no way. I appreciate you guys very, very much. I'm a drawer with charcoal now. Wait, is it? Yeah, I'm.
Do we still have the apple in here somewhere?
Why are we switching up?
Do we want to try and draw an apple?
I feel like I'm liking this. We can try. I don't mind, because...
Okay.
Are we the real apple?
Yes. So what we've been doing is we've been drawing a pear on a white fabric so that we can get the value without being too focused on color. So let's see if we can do the same thing with something that is color.
Level up.
Yay, we have an apple. Okay.
Are we saying level up?
You're leveling up.
Level up. I have another question for you, though.
Yes.
When I get better with handling charcoal, because this is charcoal.
Yes.
But isn't there a vine and a willow, or is that two different things? Because what's next?
So after this, I'm going to bring in graphite.
Okay.
And we're going to look at things a little bit differently.
Okay.
So right now we're working on how do we practice to create some final image. Next time we're going to try and make an image that is aiming to be like a final drawing. So we're using the tools that we get to create something that we want to make.
So I'm going to have homework.
Yes. Of course. Can't go to school without homework.
Can't go to school without homework. Okay, I'm sorry. With like an acrylic painting, is there a way to take this too far? Or like a watercolor, is there a way to take it too far, or not really, because this is forgiving?
There are times where you can't erase back to pure white anymore because there's too much pigment on the paper. And there is a point where maybe you've worked on it for so long that the paper starts to get affected by friction or the amount of times that you're erasing. So there are those things. Okay. But again, with these, if you don't like it, start over and try again. These are just to practice your techniques.
Why am I so, I'm so dirty? Every part of over here.
How are your gloves dirtier than mine?
That's my style.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to tone.
Yep.
See, why are you doing it that way now? To match
I just
the
like
shape?
to mix things up.
I did not mock the teacher. I did not. But are you matching the shape? Is that why yours is much smaller this time?
No. I don't always like to fill the whole paper. It's totally up to you. Since I'm not using the whole paper, sometimes I'll just do a little square.
Okay, so time out.
Yes.
Look at the amount of dust and look at the amount of dust. I'm doing something not right. Hold on.
You're probably pressing down a little bit more. I would just blend that into your paper.
Blend
Do you have a question?
Is there something that you could spray on this to keep it from smearing when you're finished?
Oh.
Yes. So workable fixative is what I would usually say. There's different types of fixative. It's going to be a spray that basically adheres your pigment in place. And workable fixative is if you want to keep working with it afterwards, you can keep working with it. It's not going to be a final coat. It can keep going. So this is actually going to be a little bit easier than the pear in form of in terms of shape. So this is more of a sphere than the pear was.
I'm just looking at the wrecking ball here and look at you already. it's okay.
Just
I'm not
smudges.
I'm
Do
not
you need
giving
me
up
to
on
be
this.
more messy?
I'm not giving up on this. I'm ready. Here we go.
Okay, so we got a sphere. Let's go ahead and draw our sphere. So I have a little bit of my circle there, and I erased it. If I don't like the way that circle is, I can always adjust it.
See, I'm already starting out with it. Notice I don't even want to touch my paper. That's where...
Now this sphere is a little bit more kind of squarish.
It's petite.
So now that I have a circle, I'm going to kind of create a little bit more of a square shape.
Okay.
So it's kind of flat on top, curved on the sides, a little bit flat on the bottom. So once I have that, I can go ahead and blur away my...
Curved on the sides.
Yep, curved on the sides, kind of flat on the top. But once you have the idea of your shape in there, we can now go in and add those shadows. Now,
I made a toast.
Sorry. It looks like the apple shape, though.
I'm sure it does. Okay, thanks, Teach.
So the highlight on this one is a little bit different. So if you look at it, I guess I don't know what you're seeing, but if you look at what they're seeing on the screen there, that highlight is basically a circle.
It's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you see this, though? That white?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what am I pointing
Oh,
at?
yeah.
Do you see like it's a highlight within a highlight? That's why I did that.
That's okay. That's good to know where it is. I would blur out those lines, though, so that you know where it is, but you don't see the line there.
Okay, so what did you do? Sorry.
So I drew the circle around where that highlight is.
Drew the circle around. Oh, because it doesn't go all the way.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to fill in everything around that with that dark.
And we're still, yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And mine kind of is falling apart, so I might have to go to another piece here.
You have no dust.
I keep wiping it away.
But where? Because it's not even on your...
Into the paper.
Into.
Okay.
Okay.
So I kind of blurred mine away almost completely, so I'm just bringing it back out. Oh, broke it. And it's just that one side that's shadowed. You might see something a little bit different than I do.
Nope, I'm looking at the same thing. It's
Okay,
just
okay.
mine won't look like yours ever. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing something totally different.
Okay. So now that we have this, there's also going to be a little divot on the top here because it goes into the sphere. So we have another little shadow, which is kind of like a little curve.
Oops. Wait, a shadow?
Mm-hmm.
Like a little smiley face?
Yeah. And then the stem's going to come right out from there.
And then, oh, I see.
Yep.
Wait. And then the, gotcha.
And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of shadow on the bottom so it's connected to something. But this is our sketch. So this is going to be really like fuzzy and dark. We're now going to go in with our white, which is our eraser, and our compressed charcoal.
You notice I got carried away. Sorry, I don't.
That's okay.
Yours looks one solid color right now, and mine is...
Everyone's sketch is going to look different. We haven't even gone in with the drawing part yet.
Okay. Oh.
So now we're going to go in with either eraser or our compressed charcoal. I want to go in and get that highlight back. So I'm going to... Ooh, that's really light. That's okay. Bring that back. And it kind of curves around this way. And I don't want this whole thing to be the brightest white, which is why I'm not pressing down too hard and I'm blending it in, because we do have that really bright highlight on this apple. I want that to be the brightest part. So I'm actually going to form this into a perfect little circle, like a stamp. Doop, 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 doop. And then I'm going to figure out where my highlight is. It's kind of in the middle here. And just stamp a little highlight.
Mine looks like a face. Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, I can see it.
See what I'm saying? And I just gave it a bigger eye. We are doing great.
But now our shadow is blending into our background, so we're going to lighten our background. So I'm basically doing the same thing I did on this side, but instead of painting inside the apple, I'm going on the outside.
Am I just recreating the shape or fixing the shape of it?
Yeah. And making sure that there's more contrast so that we can see that dark side. I want a lighter background so that you can see that dark side. I'm going to kind of bring it to a point so I can get into the top here on both sides. And I'm not going to go all the way up next to my highlight because there is a little bit of a shadow on this side of the apple. So I'm going to kind of create a line by going outside my highlight. And then I'll go ahead and blend that highlight into that dark part. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my shadow. Ooh, nice! So I'm going to have this go in a little bit.
But I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I really do.
I'm going to go in and lighten the bottom a little bit. Again, I'm just going to be messy so it's a little bit lighter. Nice. Okay.
Mine is too stark. Do you know what I mean?
I can see that. I think you want to create a little bit more of a curve in to separate your apple from your shadow. So there's a little bit more of a curve inwards.
On the inside or the outside?
I would do it on just the right side, on the outside.
Oh, here.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yours
Mm-hmm.
has... I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say because yours just looks... I don't even... The word is not... It's not animated. It's another word. Where yours looks more smoothly transit. You see, mine just looks stark.
I would go in with your finger or your blender stump.
Oh.
And smooth out those transitions. And I literally just blend my finger along where those two areas touch.
Oh, yeah, we just took it all the way.
It is definitely hard because I will definitely like touch something and remove it by just touching it. Very light pressure, kind of dusting it onto the surface. If you have to put something back in, you can.
Just gonna put this on my refrigerator.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I need to fix this. Oh, no. Ooh.
Oh, I actually have to bring a
Yours
brighter
has-
highlight, I feel like, up here. But once we're feeling good about these apples,
Feeling great.
we finished today's lesson.
We are out of time. No way.
You did it!
Oh. Not very well, but I did it.
You did it.
I didn't storm off. Oh my, okay. I just...
So I'll let you keep working
got
on your
confident.
apple if you want.
Uh-huh.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys for being here and for playing along with me. What's my
Yes.
homework, teacher?
So your homework is going to be practicing drawing things. If you have to start with things like an apple that's kind of spherical, since you know how to draw that shape, you can start with those. If you want to do like a basketball or a watermelon.
So round
Yes,
things.
you
Okay.
can try leveling up to something that's not round if you want to try it. But just practicing your shadows and your highlights. That's all you got to do before we have next time.
I have one question. How
Yes.
long should I honestly spend if I were to go home and draw that?
Mm-hmm.
How long should I spend working on that? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 45 minutes? Am I pushing
I
it 15?
would try different times. So
Okay.
there are lessons in drawing where you kind of practice how much detail can you get in 30 seconds.
Oh.
How much can you get in 60 seconds? How much can you get in 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours? Kind of see what you get with those different times if you want to only spend like 10 to 15 minutes on each drawing.
Is that fair? Like 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, okay. I can do that.
Because I think these ones took us maybe 15 minutes.
Felt like forever. Okay, I can do that. I can easily do that. Let's do this.
Yes, we got this.
I'm feeling great. Thank you.
Ophelia will not be on next week or the week after, but she will be back in, I think, like a month.
I'll be practicing.
But she will be back, so she has a month of practice, and you guys too, if you guys were following along. Don't forget, if you want anything that we are using to do this yourself, if you weren't following along already, that class code is going to be JL355. And you can join us next week. Emmy will be on with another special guest to talk about Cora watercolors. And of course, I always get excited for watercolors, so definitely come check that out. But that is all for today. Again, thank y'all for coming. Give Ophelia a round of applause.
Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. High five.
I've never done this before. High five again.
Oh, you got dirty hands.
I've never played with this, so thank you guys so much.
Yes.
This was fun.
And we will see you guys next time. Let's go ahead and dance
Oh,
out.
we're leaving. We're leaving. Bye.
Do, do.